Wow. Look at my chicken fingers.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Harris, and today I'm going to be talking about the history of basketball. So first, I want to talk about the inventor and the rules whenever it was first invented. So the inventor's name was James Naismith. He created a sport because everyone played football, and to play football you had to be strong and just have raw strength. But to play basketball you have to have talent and athleticism rather than just beating up someone. Also, whenever it began, it started out with 2 peach baskets, a soccer ball, 9 people on each team, and every time they scored a basket, you had to climb up a ladder and get the ball out of the basket because there's no other way of getting it down. Also, you could not dribble or pass the ball, which was very odd, causing you to have a team strategy to get the ball down the court and in the hoop without running or dribbling. So that was the inventor and how the rules used to be. This is how basketball has changed or stayed the same over the years. So there used to be 9 players on each team, and now there's 5, and you could not substitute back in the day. But now you can substitute as much as you want and have as many people come in and come out as you need. It used to be and still is 10 feet in the air, and it used to be peach baskets and boxes, and now it's a metal rim with a net on it. So that's changed. There was also no backboard on the goal. It was just a basket and you shot into it. There was no backboard behind it. If you shot over, it went over, and there were no boundaries. There were nothing like that. So if you threw it over, the first team to get it, it was their ball. A goal was only worth 1 point instead of 2 or 3 points, or you could get a point if the other team committed 3 consecutive fouls. So you did not want to commit any fouls or anything like that. The time limits were 15-minute halves, and there was no overtime. So once you finished the first half, you went into halftime, and then you went into the second half, and whatever the score was, that was final. The first game that was ever played, the score was 2-2, and that was the final score because there was no such thing as overtime to break a tie. Fouls were hard to get because the only way you could get them is if you pretty much just hurt someone, punched someone, got in a fight with someone. Literally, you had to do anything to get a foul. Like, you could do anything but fight someone and you'd get a foul. So every time you score, you would have to do a jump ball to where the person on one team and the other team would jump up in the air to get the ball, and whoever got the ball, that team decided the points. So that's how it would be after every goal scored. Also, there was no such thing as goaltending or offensive interference. So it was a strategy to where if anyone shot, you could honestly jump up and block it before it hit the rim, anything like that. At the very beginning, you could goaltend, offensive interfere, whatever you needed to do to score or not let the other team score. Also, at the beginning, dunking was banned because people would either break the basket or they would just hurt themselves, breaking their legs, just falling, anything bad that would happen. They ended up just banning it because it just didn't turn out good for anyone. The last thing that I think was really weird about it was there was no coaching allowed during the game. So you couldn't coach while you were playing or in session of playing. You could only coach before the game, during halftime, and then after the game you could make any remarks to your players that you needed to make. So that was how basketball has changed and stayed the same over the years, and also the inventor and how he made it whenever he invented it. The next point is who I'm going to talk about who have changed the game into today's game. So 2 of the greatest basketball players who I think have ever played the game are Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. They both have had their own sense of style to the game, and they're both debatable as some of the greatest basketball players of all time. So I think it's definitely one of those things where they definitely influence people to play more like them with their dunking abilities, their shooting abilities, their defensive abilities. Anything that they did, people wanted to do because they were so cool. Another person who I think is influencing the game who plays now is Stephen Curry. He literally shoots the ball crazily good. Like, he can shoot it from half court and make it, and it's easy for him. So, and that's 3 points, and everyone doesn't want to make a 2-pointer now because it's only worth 2 points. Everyone wants to shoot threes because they see Steph shoot a three and they're like, wow, that was an easy 3-pointer. I want to be able to shoot like him so I can just score easy 3-pointers too. Another person who is really old but also just a big influence on the game is Dr. J, or Julius Erving. He was the person who started fancy dunks and pretty much emphasized on how cool it was to dunk. It was back in the 80s, and he would just dunk all over people and do them in the craziest ways and in the most ways that you can't even imagine sometimes. Another person who really changed the game, I feel like, is Magic Johnson. He was such a big guy, but he would play the point guard position, and he could handle the ball any way. He could play any position, do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
Another person is Larry Bird, who he just hustled everywhere he went, did everything he could. And the next person is Bill Russell. He won the most championships any player has ever won, and I feel like he has changed the game too, just because of all the wins and championship rings he has. Two other people are Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in one game, which is crazy and unbelievable for someone to do. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is leading the every NBA player in scoring right now, and he has the most points ever in NBA history right now. Two other people are Oscar Robertson and Russell Westbrook, who both have averaged a triple-double over a season, which is a crazy amount to do and a crazy thing that only two people have done. And the next two are Steve Nash and Allen Iverson, who are both really small and really athletic, and everyone said that they weren't going to make it because they were 6 foot or under 6 foot, and that they weren't athletic enough or anything like that, but they came over the odds and showed up and said that we were athletic enough to play basketball in the NBA. And then the last two who I think changed the game was LeBron James and Kevin Durant, who have definitely, they can play any position, every position, and no one can guard them. LeBron James standing at 6'8" and Kevin Durant standing at 7 foot. They're both super fast and super athletic, and no one can guard them in the league except for each other. So that was my speech, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.